Yeah, we're not the suits that talk football. We're the dudes that know football. And you've just crossed over into the trend zone. Casey here with Dave. We are the football dudes. Dave, are you ready, bro?
Oh, yeah. You got that right, my friend.
All right, that's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the trend zone. It is Wednesday, October 23rd, coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Hey, it is a beautiful 82 degrees up here in the Sherm, Dave. Winter
Yeah.
Schminter.
Dude, it's cooking. It's about 78, 79 over here in Santa Monica on the west side, but baby, it is beautiful out
Oh,
there.
heck yeah, we will take it. In today's episode, there's another superstar receiver on the move, and maybe another one will be on the move as well. We're going to tell you who. Oh, wait. Oh, Tua Time might be closer than we thought. And who dat locks up a fan favorite, a little survivor, a fantasy go back starts of the week, and all the awesome games from the upcoming week. But Dave, before we get to all that, tell me you got a tasty nug for the peoples.
Of course, I'm holding. It is week 7 last week, Casey. 6 games decided by 7 points or less. 4 teams came back after trailing by at least 10 points. That's Buffalo, Detroit, Indy, and Jacksonville. And 3 teams won on game winning plays in the final minute of regulation. That was Detroit, Green Bay, and the Arizona Cardinals
Ugh,
against my Cha-Chas.
brutal.
But Casey, there's also been 58 games this season decided by 7 points or fewer. That is one more than both the 2022 and 2012 seasons for the most ever through week 7 in NFL history. And this is the first week this season that 4 or more teams came back from at least 10 points. Again, that's the NFL for you. No lead is safe. It's always coming down to the wire. That's why we love it.
I know people like, oh, they're padding stats in the fourth quarter games. No, dude, those points count the same. If you
Yeah.
don't put a team away, they're going to come back and get you. We had 4 of them last week. I guarantee that's not the last week that we see that happen.
Yep. No question about it, dude.
All right. Just want to remind the peoples out there that the Trend Zone is now available for subscription. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever the hell you get your podcasts. All right, Dave, let's get into some top trending stories. I had the timepiece right there. To a time. Maybe this weekend?
He's back off of the IR, so he's missed the 4 obligated games. So he is. I'm guessing they're trending towards starting him. I don't know if there has been an official announcement, but wow. I mean, he said he got over the concussion basically the next day or whatever. So he's just been sitting tight there, biding his time here. So let's hope that this is the right decision for Tua, because man, it's a little sketchy to me still.
Absolutely. And but they kind of need him with Huntley kind of being banged up there. I don't know where
Yeah.
they want to go to Skyler there. So
Woo.
we're gonna
Yeah, and
find
it's at
out
a
on
pivotal point in
Sunday.
the season. We'll get into the game previews later, but yeah, this would be a great time for Tua to come back and inject a little bit of excitement and life into that Dolphins offense for sure.
They could absolutely use it. Dave and the rich just keep getting richer.
Yes, I have a commentary on this one. It's just, it's. I'm sorry, but let me get into the details. Chiefs trade for DeAndre Hopkins, dude. Wow. The Titans. It's going to be just a 5th rounder unless the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl and Hopkins plays 60% of the snaps, which seems pretty likely. The 60% part. He used to be an
So does the
absolute.
Super Bowl.
Right, I know at this point, right? He used to never miss a snap. Now
Mm-mm.
he is a little bit older dude at this point, but you would expect him to get 60%. And then yeah, so let's call this a 4th rounder. Hopefully, it's a 5th rounder.
But at
Uh,
least the Chiefs are paying for all of his salary,
Wrong,
right?
Casey. That is not the case. They're getting a discounted price,
Oh,
uh, as about half of the salary is going to be taken up, paid for by the Titans, and the other half the Chiefs. So great deal. The Chiefs just always make the right moves.
they bring in Obi-Wan Kenobi in those negotiations, and he's like, we won't be paying the
Yeah,
full
that's
price. You
right. What?
will be taking on some of the salary. You know what? I've got an idea.
Exactly.
Oh,
Somehow,
dude.
man.
But that might not be the only superstar receiver on the move,
Yeah,
potentially.
Rams have been poking around, speaking to several teams about moving Cooper Cup, which is hard to imagine for me. But Cup has been fantastic. He has been out since the beginning of the second game, rather. I know he's on my fantasy squad, so like the rest of them, he's injured. But looks like he is tracking to come back on Thursday, and we'll see. They're looking for a second rounder, and they are willing to pay some of the contract moving forward for him. He's got $9 million left on this year's contract, and then he's under salary for the next 2 seasons under contract. So whoever gets him will have that to deal with as well.
And Dave, I saw you pull up. I thought it was a Corvette, but it turned out it was a bitchin' Camaro.
Good for Kamara, man. He has agreed to a 2-year, $24.5 million extension for the Saints, with the Saints rather, and they have been over the cap for like years, and they always seem to work magic. So they'll need to work some magic before the beginning of next year. Lots of running backs, as we noted, had gotten some good contracts in the offseason.
Yeah,
So
dude.
he puts him up with that level.
2 years ago, the running back was out. It wasn't
Yeah.
a position of need. And now look at the money that some of these cats are making and look at the results on the teams that they're playing for.
Yeah, no question. And all of these guys, whether it's Jacobs, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, and DeAndre Swift, man, at least those top 4 for sure are like really paying dividends for the teams that acquired them. So it's pretty exciting for sure that these running backs are getting a little piece of the pie.
And then, dude, a little bad news for a receiver that's going through some stuff, has missed some time, got here this year, is really starting to explode on the scene, and now he's going to be sitting for 2 games.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks in a row in our show that we specifically mentioned Jamison Williams as a guy that was emerging to, to really shine. And unfortunately, now the 2-game suspension for the performance enhancing drug policy violation. It's kind of surprising it's only 2 games, to be honest. He did serve a 4-game suspension for gambling, breaking the gambling policy last year. So, yeah, it's only 2 games, but he's derailed a little bit. So hopefully they can be fine without him. They've got plenty of weapons. So,
and then, dude, the Las Vegas Raiders making big time moves, bro.
That's right. They're bringing in Desmond Ridder off the practice squad for the Cardinals. Ridder, of course, a 3rd rounder from Atlanta, had some ups and downs, has some good legs, and has a lot of potential. So still potentially a guy that could be an ascending player. The Raiders, in the big picture of things, don't really feel like, I think, that their quarterback position is settled, whether it's O'Connell or Minshew and now Ridder. I think they're just going to take a look-see here and see, where does this guy fall into their future plans? It might be somebody that's not on the roster as of yet until next year's draft. That is
Suck for Shador.
Yeah. That would be a pretty good one there, Casey. They're doing the suck part, though, so far at 2-5.
Like,
so
I got it, baby. I got it. We know Max Crosby isn't going anywhere if you saw on the Instagrams. And Dave, it wasn't a great game by your Chargers on Monday night, but at least nobody saw it. But this is actually a bigger problem of what we've been talking about with this stupid extra streaming platform crap.
Yeah, 1.8 million is a horrible number for an NFL game. That was who got to see the Chargers and Cardinals, and that is including the numbers from Los Angeles, which it was shown locally, and also Arizona. So when the 2 local teams got the feed for free, basically on local TV. So that means practically nobody streamed it on ESPN Plus, and it was an overlap. It was only 45 minutes after the other game, which is idiotic. And the other game had, the Ravens and the Bucks. It's a pretty awesome football game. Who's going to really go out of their way to watch this game and pay for it to do so? It's just, I don't understand this one. Many times we like what the NFL does. This one seems stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just awful, that stupid streaming crap and the staggered start. It's like, nobody's. And then on the East Coast, you just finished a pretty good game with some of the biggest stars in the league. You're not probably going over to see the last bit of it. So do a doubleheader, different times, but this staggered crap has got to go, bro. I am sick of it. And I think they're realizing, we're cutting our audience down into
Yeah,
terrible
there's
numbers when we
something to
do
be
this
said
crap.
for when there's 8 kickoffs on a Sunday morning or 5 in the afternoon or whatever, which is great. But let's not dilute the primetime games. It
Mm-mm.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so hopefully this will maybe make them rethink that moving forward. All right, Dave. Unfortunately, man, injuries, it's a huge part of this game, but some big time names are now on this list, some of them missing the rest of the season.
Yeah, starting off with Brandon Ayuk, dude, torn ACL and MCL. He'll be out for the season. Of
Ugh.
course, he held out and wasn't having a great season, missing all of that camp to get his 4-year, $120 million contract extension. Well, there goes basically 1/4 of it down the drain in terms of the way the 49ers are getting their, returns out of it. How about wide receiver, another one out for the year, Rashid Shaheed for the New Orleans Saints. They are a really banged up football team,
Mhm.
torn meniscus there, required surgery. DK Metcalf, another receiver, is going to be out, looks like about 3 weeks with a grade 1 strain of the MCL. So a lot of receivers banged up.
And then the glamour boys, the quarterbacks, some injuries hitting that position too.
Yeah, let's get it started with Deshaun Watson. He tore the Achilles. We saw it firsthand.
Oh, and it was
It
so
looked
gross. You could
nasty
see that little
as
thing
it
shoot right up his leg. Ugh.
gnarly. Just a real quick recap. The Browns did trade 3 first-round draft picks for Watson and
Ooh.
gave him the biggest guaranteed contract in NFL history at 5 years, $230 million. An unmitigated disaster from anybody's perspective at this point in time, especially the type of guy that he has been in terms of, people wanting to root for him even. They're stuck with that contract 2 more seasons at $46 million each year.
Ugh.
Not to mention DTR potentially out with that a finger issue. They bring in Bailey Zappi as a backup, and Winston looks like he's kind of pointing in the direction of being the starter there at this point in time.
And then you talked about the Raiders bringing in Ritter.
Yeah, Aiden O'Connell placed on IR with a fractured thumb. That's going to be at least the 4 weeks of IR. You can't grip the football, you
Mm-mm.
can't throw the football, and that's a thumb. So the opposing appendage there it's going to take a little time to get that going. Jaden Daniels has got a rib injury. He's week to week, so I'm guessing he'll be good to go this week.
All right. And then we got a couple more season enders.
Yeah, Jalen Watson, corner or DB for the Chiefs. He has having surgery on his fractured ankle. He'll be gone. Oh, going back to receivers. Sorry, didn't get these guys collected. It's Chris Godwin, dislocated ankle. That was nasty
That
looking.
was gnarly, dude.
Godwin's going to miss the rest of the season, and then Mike Evans had a right thing on the field moment as his hamstring more than flared up there. That's going to give him probably at least 3 games off. It'll be the Falcons, Chiefs, and Niners that they
Ugh.
get to play during that time period. So good luck without your receivers at this point in time.
Dave, you're really killing my buzz with all this injury news,
Yeah,
bro.
well, let me try and cheer you up, Casey. There's a decent possibility that TJ Hawkinson returns this week from the ACL and MCLs that he tore last year. His 21-day window to practice or whatever to be activated is coming to a close soon. So that certainly indicates the timeline is that he'll be on and good to go on Thursday night. And you'll be happy to find out, Casey, that there's a pretty good chance, or at least a decent chance, that Micah Parsons will be returning for your Cowboys when they play the 49ers next Sunday night. So that'll be
Oh,
exciting if he can come back.
we could use that, Dave, because Micah likes to dominate on defense. And speaking of dominate, it is time for total fantasy domination. Dave, give me a quarterback.
It is Lamar Jackson, dude, killing it for the Ravens and the Donkey Sean in our league. 281 pass yards, 5 passing touchdowns. Also tack on 52 rushing yards. He did fumble one away.
Oh, dude. And how about Jahmyr Gibbs for the Disco Donkeys and the Detroit Rock City Lions? Just 116 rush yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 44 receiving yards. Not too bad.
Yes, and on the receiving end of some of those Lamar passes was Rashad Bateman. Uh, he received the ball for 121 receiving yards and a score for Bateman. Pretty nice day.
Yeah, and Dave, did you put Mark Andrews on the bench because of that lack of production, or did you score with this?
I had him in, Casey, but
All
when we
right.
get to our fantasy later, we'll find
Oh,
out. He obviously doubled. I think he got more in this week than he did the rest of the year combined. But go ahead.
yeah, 41 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Almost had a third one there. So, Dave, I think he's just getting up to speed. But speaking of your fantasy team, how about our go back fantasy starts of the week? If you could go back and make a different decision and start someone else, would you, could you, should you?
Well, I would go back to the day that we drafted and not draft any of the players practically that we did. Just real quick recap for those who are concerned. McCaffrey has not played yet for me. Cooper Cup played about 5 quarters for me. Hopefully he'll be back. Devon Achane missed one game with a concussion. Brandon Ayuk, after a crappy season, is now officially done. That's my 4th round. Those are my first 4 picks. After that's Neighbors. He did miss a game with the concussion. He's back, though. Andrews, that was one of his best games of the season right there. Needless to say, my team is not doing very well. And I'm looking for these guys to get healthy. Some of them are, but certainly Brandon Ayuk is not. I do have Cooper Cup, though. So hey, no worries. I'll just plop him right into place. At least I can feel the team, unlike a couple
Hey,
of weeks back.
that's progress, baby.
Yeah, making progress.
Yeah. In our league, I lost to the Green Bud Packers. And in my other league, I had Debo and I had Juju, and they both went out. And in
Yeah.
our league, I was playing against Debo and Juju, but the Green Bud Packers also had Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon. So my foul boys have lost 3 in a row. We drop below 500. And, but what I just keep telling myself is like, at least we're not the lightning strikes.
Yeah,
Okay.
the 1 in 6 lightning strikes. I pity the fool who lost me. I don't even remember who it was. At some point, my team will boil up and beat somebody else, and they're going to be scratching their head, going, "What the hell happened? How did
Yeah,
that
you're
go
the
down?"
you're the new Snivellers or the kicking pigeons.
Well, it was me when I was 11th ranked and I lost to the 12th ranked team. That was when it was just like right in my face right then.
Okay, well, at least we can talk about something else a little better. How about your Survivor?
I'm dead, Casey. Thank you kindly. I've struck out all 3 strikes in 5 weeks, but I will
Oh,
get into the most popular correct picks last week. Were both Buffalo and with 34%, and Buffalo over Tennessee, that is, and Washington over Carolina with almost 33% there. It seems like it's gotten a lot easier when I look at these at this point. I really feel like I could have used a couple of these obvious picks that to come through
yeah.
earlier in the season. So, also last week's most popular incorrect pick was Atlanta over Seattle, but that was just less than 1%. So, certainly has apparently, based on the numbers here, eased up quite a bit.
Yeah, I was on that Buffalo bandwagon, so I live with my final strike there. I hope to keep going. But Dave, help the peoples out with some picks for week 8.
Yeah, so obviously it's going to be thin. Obviously it's thinning out here. So we got a couple of them. It's Detroit over Tennessee. That's more than 36% of the people. Baltimore over Cleveland looks like a nice one with nearly 20%. And then there's Denver over Carolina. The who's playing Carolina theme. That's 14.5%. So nice picks there. You got to have one of those 3 available. Otherwise, you're probably going to have some unpleasant pick to make.
Okay, to hell with all that stuff, Dave. Let's get to what really matters, the games. We're going to run through all of the games of week 8.
Week 8? What the?
Yeah,
Week
week
8?
8.
It's slipping away, man.
We're nearing the halfway point, Dave. Where does it go?
Unbelievable.
The fun is almost over.
It's slipping away.
All right, get us started. Thursday
On
Night
Thursday
Football.
night, Casey, we'll get it started with the Minnesota Vikings on their way to Los Angeles to visit our Los Angeles Rams. The Vikings, coming off that loss last week, they are 3.5-point favorites in LA.
Yeah, and dude, the Vikings almost had that game. Detroit went down and kicked the game-winning field goal with pretty much no time left on the clock there. Sam Darnold continues to impress, dude. I don't know what this crap about maybe Stafford to the Vikings was. It seems like that was just some bullcrap rumor out there. Why would you get rid of this guy? 22 of 27, 259, 1 touchdown, 1 INT, a QBR
Wow.
of over 103. Aaron Jones had a really nice day running the ball, 14 and 93. 6.6 with the touchdown. We were a little concerned about the hammy going into that one. Maybe we see Cam Akers in the mix
Mm-hmm.
this week. Justin Jefferson continues to be outstanding. Naylor getting in there with Addison and Jefferson. So the
Yeah.
Vikings are the cream of the crop in the NFC. Lost a tough game at home to Detroit. They'll get a chance to remedy that later in the season. Coming out here to the Rams. Rams get a big win last week. They moved to 2-5, but or 2-4, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But they should have. They play this game a little bit grimy, but this is the one that the Vikings need to go handle their business and take a little long break and just move into 6-1 on that mini bye and hit the second half of this season.
It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, if Cooper Kupp can come back, make a big impact on this team, maybe it's not too late for them to, instead of being sellers here, to keep all their assets, and this would be a huge win that could head in that direction for these Rams.
Yeah, 2 weeks left to go before that trade deadline. So this, I think you're right about that. This will have a major impact on what their plan for the second half of the season is. But boy, it's going to
Mhm.
take something special to pry Stafford out of there. But who knows? We've
Yeah, and
seen
I can't
crazy stuff
imagine wanting
happen.
to move off a Cup, but that's bring him over to the Chargers. Don't have to
Oh,
change stadiums.
doesn't even have to clean out his locker. All right, Dave, up next, we got a nice little NFC South battle. It is the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Bucks, and the Falcons are 2.5-point favorites on the road.
Yeah, and these Falcons, man, they're 4-3 after losing last week to the Seahawks. Bijan Robinson had a good day; he went over 100 yards in that one. But Kirk Cousins really did struggle, tossing 2 picks in that one and getting sacked and fumbling a ball that was returned for a touchdown in that game, and that sort of ended their They were kind of right in there, down by 10 maybe or something, driving when that happened, and that kind of just shut the door on their comeback effort. Atlanta's offense is overall 5th in passing and 7th in total yards. So I'm looking for this to kind of be pretty exciting football game with the way the Bucks have been playing too.
Yeah, but the Bucks you mentioned earlier, they're going to be without Mike Evans for at
Yeah.
least a few weeks, and they're without Chris Godwin for the rest of the season. That's going to give some of these younger cats a chance to step up. Jalen McMillan had a pretty nice game, and obviously Bake's got the connection with Sterling Shepard from their OU days, so they're going to have to find some production out of there. Maybe it's going to be Cade Otton, who had 8 grabs for 100 yards on Monday night. Work those seams a little bit there. But it was nice to see Rachaad White get back in the mix. Only had 40 yards rushing, but had 71 in the pass game there. And Bucky Irving, dude, every week he continues to get a little bit better and more involved in this offense. And then Sean
Sean
Tucker, who the
Tucker.
hell is this cat, dude? I
Right.
don't know anything about him, but he's finding ways to contribute too. Will they have enough weapons in this game to compete with the Falcons? They're going to wear those sweet ass creamsicles. So
Ooh.
maybe that will give them a little mojo. But there's no shame in losing to the Ravens, but Bake's got to clean it up a little bit, throwing a
Yeah.
ton of touchdowns, but the interceptions are also starting to creep up. So, including a costly one in the end zone at the beginning of that game on
Yeah.
Monday night. So, just got to clean it up a little bit. But, the winner of this one is sitting in great shape for this division. Don't forget, Dave, a couple weeks ago, the Falcons actually beat these Bucks on the last second field goal. So, split this up. Let's go, Bucks.
All right. Up next, Casey, it's the Philadelphia Eagles at the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bengals at home are favored by 2.5.
Yeah, dude. And last week, Saquon Barkley took it out on the G-Man, almost 200 yards rushing. The Eagles just smashed those Giants 28-3. And Dave, how do you keep Jalen Hurts from turning the ball over? Just turn around and give it to Saquon. Let
Yeah.
Saquon do his thing. 176 yards, dude. Come on, and he's getting involved in the pass game, and that's really opening up that play action. And when you do that, you just dump it right over the top to A.J. Brown. He had 5 grabs for 89, including that 41-yard touchdown. So, Jalen Hurts, like I said, give it to Saquon. 10-14 and a touchdown. That's all you need from him,
Not
dude.
too much.
Yeah, so it has been feast or famine with the way Saquon's gone through these games.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping they're meeting this hungry Cincy team that a win for them gets them back to 500 and right back in the mix of everything.
Yeah, and talking about that Cincy team, they got off to a rough start, as we recall, the beginning of the season, starting off 0-3, but now they're back on track with 3 out of the last 4 games notched in the W column to get them there up to 4-3 after beating Cleveland last week. It was kind of a close game, surprisingly a little closer than I thought there. But the offense didn't run the ball very well last week. They were held to under 60 yards rushing, this Bengals squad. But Burrow, he was good enough passing for 2 TDs there, one each to Chase and to Higgins. So neither team here has been playing consistently well this season. Both of them sort of a little bit mysterious right now. It's like this could be a big game to sort of kind of keep that momentum going. Both these teams trying to put it together and get a complete game, really. So it'll be interesting to see who's able to prevail in this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game there. All right, Dave, up next, it is the Tennessee Titans at the Detroit Rock City Lions. The Lions, dude, 11-point favorites in this game. Wow.
Yeah, we don't see those double-digit spreads in the NFL very often, but the 1-5 Titans last week, they kept it close early, and they were actually leading 10-0 before giving up 34 unanswered points to the Bills in what ended up being a blowout. And it was Mason Rudolph at quarterback. It looks like they're leaning towards Mason Rudolph playing again as the guy in this one, and let Levis sit back and learn. It was too many mistakes. At least Rudolph gives him a little bit less of that tendency to blow it and just give the game away. But the result was the same with Mason Rudolph. Anyway, you slice it last week. Not sure if he's going to be the difference in this game. The 5-1 Lions, they were also down 10-0 before rallying last week against the Vikings to get the W and give Minnesota their first loss of that season. Right, Goff, another great day. He was going for that 150 passer rating 3 straight games, but he didn't get there. Instead, he fell short 140 in 3 straight games, 150 something, 155, 150, and now 140. I think that is a stat that has him up there with like maybe 3 or 4 other quarterbacks who have done just 140 3 weeks in a row. Pretty impressive.
I think this cat has more touchdowns than incompletions over his last 2 games combined. It's insane.
That is an outstanding stat. Wow. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, one thing that works out pretty well is when your running back tandem is as explosive as they got with Montgomery and Gibbs. Gibbs, 160 scrimmage yards last week and 2 touchdowns for Gibbs. St. Brown, a big game with 112 and a score. So look for the Lions to take care of business this week at home. Another key stat maybe in this one, the turnover differential for each team. Tennessee -9 on the season and Detroit +6. So if Detroit gets 15 turnovers, like that suggests, this isn't going to be close.
Oh, man, yeah, this looks to be a long day for the Titans, and now they don't have D-Hop either, so
yep.
Good luck with
They're
that.
Sellers. All right, moving along, it is the New York Jets at the New England Patriots, Casey. Yeah, what can I say? The Jets are on the road, favored by 7.5.
Yeah, and Baby got Saleh kicked out of there. Baby got his BFF in there, and it was about 3/4 of goodness on Sunday night, and then Rodgers threw the pass to a wide open Garrett Wilson. The ball bounces off of him right to a Steeler. And that's when the game basically fell to the Chuds, dude. Pittsburgh ended up putting a beat down on these Jets, but they didn't get the bump that they thought from firing Saleh. They didn't get the bump they thought they would from bringing Devontae. What else can you do? I know. You put the Patriots on your schedule there. Drake May's playing a little bit better. Yeah, the defense is okay, but this is a team that's not close to competing. But if the Jets have any hope of trying to scumbag one of those final wild card spots, you got to handle your business against these Patriots. But I don't. The vibes are all bad in Jetland right now. But so maybe the Patriots make you feel a little bit.
Yeah,
better.
Just everything seems a little bit not right over there with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers and his whole show.
Yeah, not going how they thought it would. All right, Dave, up next we have the Arizona Cardinals at the Miami Dolphins, and the Dolphins are 3-point favorites in this one. Tell me something I don't know. Wow.
I guess the Tua love right there is all I can think of at this point in time. But the Cardinals, they are coming off a solid win at home over the Chargers and my Chargers to bring their record to 3-4. Kyler Murray's arm was pretty much held in check by the Chargers defense, but he got loose on a pivotal quarterback scramble that ended up a 44-yard touchdown. And James Conner, dude, this is
Oh,
he's got to be the most like physical, determined back in the league. He had 152 yards from scrimmage and he forced a fumble where we intercepted the ball and he made the tackle but forced the fumble, so they got it back. He's just an
one of
absolutely
my favorite players, dude. This
an
guy puts
absolutely
every
dominant
play.
performance. He
Yeah.
is you can't not like James Conner,
And the last drive, dude, ridiculous.
Oh, he was
Oh,
dominant in every phase
yeah.
of the game, and he's pretty much the reason they won that game, with the exception of that nice run for Kyler where he broke out there. But that's the recipe they want right now. Kyler makes a couple of timely plays, and James Conner runs the ball. Their defense was they played better than their statistics showed me. Up front, they were very stout against the run. Dolphins on the other side, this is a theme kind of from last week. They had a 10-point lead, right? And they gave up 16 unanswered to lose to the Colts last week, surprisingly. Sitting at 2-4, they need a win. And if it's Tua, it looks like it's going to be Tua. So, hopefully he can, play well and also just stay healthy. But if he can, it's certainly going to give him a huge upgrade at quarterback from what they've been going through, with that position ever since Tua went down. So it is time. It's Tua time, and it's time to save the season if they can get this W.
Yeah, instead of maybe Stafford going to the Dolphins. What about Cup going to the Dolphins, getting in that mix with Tyreek the Freak, just be like all kinds
And
of
Waddle,
speed out
woo,
there,
jeez.
working him in the slot. That could be it could be pretty tasty there. So Dolphins just trying to hang on. They're still right in that mix, dude.
Yep. Especially with the win. All right, moving ahead. It is the Green Bay Packers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pack on the road, favored by 4.5.
Yeah, Pack probably coming off their best win of the season at home against those Texans. They get it done there 24-22. Jordan Love, a pretty good game, man. They're 24-33, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Got to clean that up just a little bit. Josh Jacobs, only 76 yards. You might say, oh, that's not too good, but it was 6.3 per carry there.
Nice.
So he just runs angry. I miss Aaron Jones in this offense, but Josh Jacobs is a pretty good fit compared to the type of energy he brings towards this. The young receivers there, Romeo Dobbs, great. Dontavian Wicks, great. Christian Watson, 1 for 9 because he plays for the Foul Boys there. So I like what they're also doing with the tight ends in this offense.
Yeah, Tucker Kraft has had some nice showings as well.
And this Packers defense is really prone to causing turnovers. They got, I think, 14 or more on the season already. And
Wow.
that's bad news for a Jacksonville team that turns the ball over left and right. They are coming off a big win, but it's been 2 weeks back to back in England. See if there's any jag lag coming back over the ocean to get back. So at least this is in Duval, but I fully expect the Packers to handle their business in this game.
Yeah, Brian Thomas for the Jags, sort of making his presence known. But yeah, they're going to need some big time plays from various dudes in order to somehow compete with the Pack in this one.
Could those dudes be Christian Kirk and Travis Etienne on my fantasy league? Probably not. Probably not.
Probably not.
Oh. All right. Up next, AFC North. It is the Baltimore Ravens at the Cleveland Browns, and the Ravens are 10-point favorites in this one.
Yeah, and the Ravens have won 5 straight after starting the season 0-2, and it's safe to say they're playing some of the best football in the league after beating the Bucks on Monday Night Football last week. Lamar, a nearly perfect 158.1 passer rating, throwing for 281 and 5 touchdowns, as we mentioned in the fantasy section, running for 52 more. King Henry ran for 169 yards, including that 81-yarder, and caught a touchdown pass, right? Rashad Bateman had 121 and a TD. Justice Hill caught a touchdown, and my guy Mark Andrews scored twice for them. So everybody getting involved, everybody feeling good. Ravens are definitely a well-rounded offense that's physical and tough to stop. Their defense isn't quite as awesome as it has been over the last handful of years, but the way this offense is taken over, they don't need to be. The Browns is their opponent. They dropped their 5th straight last week to bring their record to 1-6. Big news on the season, of course, is the season-ending injury to Deshaun Watson. But you know what? This might be addition by subtraction for the Browns there. But is the season already lost? Is it too late
Yeah.
sitting at 1-6 when I mean, how many losses can you have and still make the playoffs in this day and age? Maybe 7 or maybe 8. I don't know. So they're up against it. Unfortunately, DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, did hurt his finger, and he's not going to be able to play. So it's going to be Jameis Winston getting the start. And he was the team's backup for the first 6 weeks. They demoted him for some reason to in favor of DTR, but now he's the man. And also another change that just came in is that head coach Stefanski has announced that Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator, will now be calling offensive plays moving forward. Is that the spark they need? A lot of new stuff here. Question is, again, are they really in it, or is this going to be a team that's going to be selling off some more pieces in the next couple of weeks as the trade deadline is right around the corner?
Hide your clipboards with Dorsey coming to town, baby. No
Oh,
clipboard is safe.
that's
But
right.
you mentioned asset. Maybe Nick Chubb, maybe Myles Garrett.
Njoku.
Yeah, they got
And
it.
there's a corner there, Newsom, I believe. That's a pretty strong candidate that, I mean, there's still the looming dark cloud of the $46 million per year that is owed to Deshaun Watson next year and the year after that. $92 million total. Oof.
But other than that,
hey, good luck.
oh,
All right, moving forward, it's the Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. Texans are at home in this one, favored by 6.
yeah, dude. And these Colts, man, they blinked the Dolphins. It was 10-3 at halftime. Didn't give up another point.
Yep.
Had 13 points in the second half there to come back and win that game 16-10. Anthony Richardson back in the saddle for those Colts. Not a great game, but he did pretty well on the ground. They didn't have Jonathan Taylor last week either, but they found a way to gut this thing out, dude. I don't know that they have the firepower to hang with the Texans.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon absolutely ran all over those Packers. That's 2 weeks in a row that now that he's back from injuries, becoming a huge part of that offense. CJ Stroud really struggled last week. I don't think that's going to be the case at home this week. So the Colts, 4-3, they're kind of right in the mix, but I just don't see them being there in the long haul with some of these other teams. But the Texans have dreams of winning this division again and, moving on, doing a lot more than that. So they can't mess around with losing this game to the Colts. So handle your business at home, get to 6-2 and stay in the mix. And then we'll see what happens. But I fully expect them to bounce back from that loss that they had at the Pack last week.
All right, moving on to the late games, Casey. What do we got?
We got the New Orleans Saints at your Los Angeles Chargers, and they're Chargers 7.5-point favorites in this one.
Wow. All right. Starting off with the Saints. They have lost 5 straight games. Remember, they started the season 2-0 and were awesome.
I remember.
You do. Not, I don't have to bring it up. But 5 straight losses coming off that blowout loss to the Broncos on Thursday Night Football. Derek Carr hurt. It'll be Spencer Rattler again, who has played the last 2 games. He has 1 TD, 2 picks in that time span for a passer rating of under 71. You mentioned Kamara and the big contract. They've got to get that run game going. It was completely shut down last week. They need to pick it up against the Chargers to help Rattler out. They also did add MVS to the receiving group. Obviously, this is a banged up Saints team heading to Los Angeles to play my Chargers, who did lose on Monday Night Football and also are pretty banged up themselves, to be honest with you. They dropped, the Chargers did to 3-3, scored 5 times, but they were all field goals. And the Chargers have like I said, been banged up, especially in the secondary where they started 2 fifth-round draft pick rookies at corner last week. Ugh, that doesn't sound like a very good recipe for success.
Mm-mm.
But they did play pretty well for the most part. Herbert had his best throwing game of the season last year, but the interior offensive line has struggled in pass blocking. And since we don't really have a deep threat, a lot of teams just crowd the line of scrimmage. So our run game was really shut down last week by the Cardinals. When we run the ball well, we're winning football games, and when we don't, we're not winning football games. And also, Chargers wide receivers have been banged up. They hope to get Quentin Johnston back, and DJ Chark would make his debut speculatively for the Chargers this week. That would be a lot more firepower at wide receiver. Maybe, like I said, try and stretch the defenses out a little bit vertically there. Chargers defense, though, on the other side of the ball, outstanding. Number one in points given up at 13.8. And overall, the Chargers do have a turnover differential of +6. So that's a solid.
Yeah, just got to find a little bit more out of the receivers, kind of that big play threat. You like you said, hopefully Quentin Johnston can get back in there and get in the mix. But Will Dissly coming to life, dude. That was a nice
Beautiful game for
connection.
Dissly last week. I think maybe 8, 10 catches. Man, he was just the go-to guy. Had a lot of drops in that game, too, that really cost the Chargers. I think it was counted 7 drops in that game. Herbert was awesome.
Yeah, more of that, please.
All right. Up next, it's the Kansas City Chiefs at the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Chiefs on the road favored double digits again. Another one here. It's a -10. Chiefs favored by 10 over the Raiders.
Yeah, you mentioned the Raiders. They're bringing in Ritter. We're not sure how long Aiden O'Connell's going to be out with the thumb there, so it's probably going to be a little Minshew magic. I can't imagine Ritter gets in the mix there.
No.
They played the Rams tough, but just didn't have enough, and it feels like it might be falling apart there a little bit for the Raiders. They moved Devontae. Maybe they try to move some other parts. Not a lot of assets there, so I don't know other than Crosby, who said, I'm not going anywhere. Who are you going to look at there? And then on the other hand, we talked about it. The Chiefs add DeAndre Hopkins to this mix, really hurting at wide receiver. So I think it'll be sooner than later that we actually see that guy contributing to this offense.
Oh, yeah. You know, Andy Reid and company. I'm just going to draw something up.
Yeah, and Kareem Hunt coming off the couch, dude, a couple weeks ago. He had 78 yards, but 2 touchdowns picking up in that run game. But Mahomes, dude, has been very un-Mahomes-esque in this season so far. And against those Niners last week, 16 of 27, 150 yards, 2 interceptions.
Wow.
Yet somehow the Chiefs win by double digits because
Yeah.
they're the freaking Chiefs, dude. It's the chameleon. They keep changing up the way that they play. Spags has this defense playing outstanding
It's that
football.
defense, man.
And then all you have to do is, we just need one good drive from Mahomes. No prob, Bob. I got at least one of those in me. So the only undefeated team left in the NFL. So, man, I know it's tough for when you're in the AFC West, but just looking at it's an impressive run, dude. And
and this is my icky week where I get to root for the Raiders.
Ugh.
I'm a Raider fan this week.
Take a shower right after that stupid game, bro. That is not good. All right, up next we have the Carolina Panthers at the Denver Broncos, and the Broncos are 8.5-point favorites at Mile High, baby.
Yeah, and Panthers on a 1-6 on a 4-game losing streak. They got a little boost initially with the switch to Dalton, that quarterback, but the team is just not very good. There's just not enough pieces there. They're near the bottom of the league in all the offensive stats. So they are decent at running the ball, but the Broncos do have a really good defense overall, and they're good at stopping the run. Speaking of the Broncos, they're sitting at 4-3, actually now in second place in the AFC West. They blew out the Saints last week. QB Bo Nix, the rookie, he continues to develop and play decently. It wasn't a great game for him last week, but in particular, he's used his legs when he needs to get out of trouble and to move the chains. I know 2 weeks ago against the Chargers was a lot of scrambling. That was really impressive. Last week, 10 runs for 75 yards for Bo Nix. So he's doing some smart things, man. When you can't see the field as well, or you don't like what you see, just take off and move the chains. This Broncos defense, they can, first of all, they're a really strong defense, so you can just lean on them, and they got some good running backs. So if they can get that ground game going, so they can run it and play defense, they should be all right in this game without doing any fancy stuff with Bo Nix.
Yeah, just handle that biz at home.
Yeah. Oh, turnover differential. Carolina -6, and look for the Broncos to go hunting for the ball.
Ugh.
All right, up next is the Chicago Bears at the Washington Commanders. In a good game here, right? This one was moved from the early slot to the later slot, I guess, to get more eyeballs on it.
Yeah, and this is a good chance for the Bears to see what they have against another quality team. Had the win a couple weeks ago, coming off the bye there. And each week we've seen Caleb Williams get better and better. He's figuring out what you can and can't do
Yeah.
in the NFL, starting to make better throws. And I like what I've seen from this dude so far. And it looks like Swift is kind of getting that run game going. That was kind of a slow start too. I really like what he's doing there. And Caleb, dude, this guy's added almost 200 yards rushing to that offense too. And he's moving. He's getting more command of this offense each week. But Dave, this Bears defense is outstanding, man. They are making life tough on opponents there. Bears scoring about 25 points a game, giving up less than 17. Giving up less than 300 yards a game, less than 200 yards passing. They've got 18 sacks. This was a problem for this Bears defense last year. They just couldn't get to the quarterback. That's all changed. So they're getting after it. It'll be interesting to see if Jaden Daniels can go in this thing, but if not, it'll be Marcus Mariota. Came up and played pretty well in relief last week, but I want to see what the Bears do against a quality opponent on the road.
Yeah, and we'll see if it is Mariota. I don't think it will be. I think he's going to be able to take care of that rib heading into that game. He hasn't been practicing, but the Commanders are 5-2 after destroying Carolina last week. They are in first place in the NFC East, one of the most exciting surprise teams this season. And of course, that is largely due to the play of rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels. The third ranked Washington run game has been a huge factor as too, with the three-headed monster of Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, and Jeremy McNichols. But that has been what better friend than for a rookie quarterback than have a run game that's really churning out yards, man. So Washington offense is fourth in total yards, second in scoring at 31.1 points a game. So they're putting up points, man. This is one of the best games this weekend. Obviously, I'm anticipating a game between the top two quarterbacks in the NFL draft. That right there would be awesome. But with both teams above 500, both quarterbacks playing well, normally at least one of the guys is struggling. And like you said, Caleb has made steps each week. Jaden came on like a flash and has really been exciting. So in this game, look out for the turnover ratio, though. Bears are +6 on the turnover. You mentioned that defense flying around, but doesn't seem like the Commanders have been prone to turning it over. But that could be a factor too in what would appear to be a really, really tight game.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this one, man. It is going to be awesome. All right, Dave, up next we have the Buffalo Bills at the Seattle Seahawks, dude. And the Bills are 3.5-point favorites in front of the 12s.
This is going to be a good one, too. Seattle's kind of been hot and cold, but I'll let you handle them. The Bills enter this game after having crushed the Titans last week. They were down 10-0 and came back 34 unanswered. They got their W, bring their record to 5-2. Josh Allen, another dominant performance last week, throwing for 323 and 2 touchdowns. Amari Cooper, welcome. He acclimated himself rather quickly, catching 4 balls for 66 yards and a TD. And how about rookie Keon Coleman with one of his best days, maybe his best day, I think, as a pro, going for 125, including a 57-yard catch. But there were obviously a lot of explosive plays, which I'm kind of alluding to there. 4 different receivers caught a catch of at least 25 yards for this Bills team. So adding Cooper, I think, really just adds that other dimension where suddenly everybody else gets better because you don't know who to try and take care of as the defense. Who do you try and double cover? Who do you try and take out of the play? And the Bills also have been really good with the turnover ratio. They're +8 in the turnover differential.
Yeah, and these Seahawks, man, they bounced back from losing 3 in a row, going on the road and whipping them Hotlanta Falcons 34-14, dude.
Yeah. Wow.
Geno Smith leading the league in passing yards, just under 2,000. And Dave, if I would have told you that after 7 weeks it was the Seahawks all alone in first place in the NFC West, you would have said, Case, you're into the Nugs, bro. But no, they're sitting there at 4-3, the only team above 500 in this
Nuts.
division right now. So Geno's playing pretty good football. Kenneth Walker, dude, it seems like he has more than 300 yards rushing because the way this guy attacks opposing defenses, man. I love
Yeah.
this guy's game. He did miss one, but he's such a huge part of that offense. You
Yeah.
mentioned DK Metcalf might not be in there for this one. That's a good opportunity for JSN to step up. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Let's see, keep elevating his game.
Right.
And this they're going to have their hands full against those Bills. They do a lot of things, and Josh Allen brings a total different skill set than they've seen so far. But the Seahawks, man, you know how it is in front of the 12s. It's going to be loud, and they're
Yeah.
going to get it going. That defense is improving week to week too. So Geno's got to keep it clean. You mentioned how turnover prone that Bills defense is. Limit the turnovers, get Kenneth Walker going, use that crowd advantage and see. But this is a good measuring stick to see if this is a real 4-3 for the Seahawks.
Yeah,
So
Mike McDonald. I mean, it's a big challenge there. What is he going to scheme up to contain what Josh Allen brings?
yeah, and Dave, I missed another opportunity to do a Doobie Brothers reference there. I will not miss next time. I promise you that.
Well said, Casey. Moving on to Sunday Night Football, dude. It is your Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 49ers. What once was the yearly, this is the real Super Bowl
Ugh.
game, right? This is going to be a tough game. Both these teams kind of hit and miss from week to week, really. And it's a crucial game at this point. San Francisco at home is favored by 4.5 in this one. What do you got, Casey?
Yeah, both of these teams totally banged up. Cowboys have just been riding the mash unit, especially on defense. Not sure when they're going to get Bland back. They thought before the bye he was going to play. Maybe they just held him out because they knew that week 7 bye was coming back. So maybe he's back. Maybe Kalen Carson's back. We're going to need him because the secondary has been absolutely depleted. Eric Kendricks was playing really good football for us. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to go this week or not. They'd love to have him. You might remember in the offseason, he spurned the 49ers to come play for the Cowboys in Zim. So it'd be nice to have him back for this one. Mentioned at the top of the show, maybe have Micah Parsons back for this one. We sure hope so because we're going to need him. And Dave, the Niners are as banged up as they are.
Yep.
Maybe no Debo in this one. They lost Ayuk for the season. No CMC. It doesn't limit the things that the Cowboys suck at and that they're good at. Jordan
Right.
Mason, second in the league, over 5 yards a carry, dude, getting
Wow.
it absolutely done. This is a thing that has been the difference in this game is the Niners have been able to run the ball and the
Yes.
Cowboys have not been able to run the ball in this series. And Dave, that's an even bigger problem for the Cowboys this year, dude. Do you feel like puking real quick?
I don't know if it's going to drive me to that, but give me a go. See what you got.
Dave, the Dallas Cowboys only 77 rush yards per game. If you didn't guess, that's 32nd in the league. And you flip it over to the other side, dude, they're giving up 143 rushing yards per game.
Oh my God. That's worse.
Yeah, last year this team was high flying, scoring a bunch of points. They're down to just 21 points a game here. Dave, 31st in the league, giving up over 28. So none of the things that
Man.
are holding the Niners back are going to help us in this game. I don't think we're going to be able to get the run game going. And then last week we mentioned it. This Niners defense held Patrick Mahomes to 150 yards and 2 interceptions and no passing touchdowns. What are they going to do to these Cowboys? So coming off the bye, Big Mike's got a pretty good record, but this is a feisty Niners team playing at home that's dominated the Cowboys. I don't see this ending well
Mm.
for the Cowboys. I mean, you have a hope because it's football, it's the NFL, anything can
Right.
happen, but I don't see it, bro.
Yeah, but the only, I mean, it's like the amount of dudes that the Niners have banged up. Samuel's questionable, Javon Jennings questionable, Ricky Pearsall is a good. Just get him back off of the offseason shooting.
I'm not
Maybe
worried
he'll
about the pass game, Dave. I'm worried
right.
about that run
Kittle
game.
questionable as well in this game. Yeah, it's right.
Kittle's gonna play, dude. You don't wear the F Dallas t-shirt and then you have something keep you out, dude. Unless you got to
Right.
cut that foot off or the pinky like Ronnie Lott, he's gonna play.
Yeah, and they can run the football, like you said, and that's been a big issue for your Cowboys this year. So if they can't stop the run better than they have, then that's exactly what the Niners are going to go to.
And dude, this gauntlet of games coming up from the Cowboys is ridiculous, man. The schedule is doing them no favors the next 5 weeks. So
Mm,
they might be sellers in a couple weeks here, if they
mm,
can't get this win.
wow.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, Dave. Let's move it on. We got one more games.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football, the New York Giants at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tell me a bunch of bad crap about the Giants so I at least feel a little better about my
Okay, we'll
Cowboys,
do,
please.
Case. I'll see what I can. I'll kind of accommodate you there. Giants are 2-5. There we go. They got beat down last week, 28-3 by the Eagles. Daniel Jones threw for under 100 yards, and Drew Lock came in, and he was even worse. Threw
But
for
did he
just
have the sweet dance moves?
he did. He threw for just 6 yards on 8 attempts, so it's very difficult to do that. But that's what he got. 6 yards on 8 attempts. The Giants only ran for 76 yards too. So as inept as their passing game was, the running game was also pretty ineffective. Defensively, the Giants were run all over, as you mentioned earlier, giving up all those yards to Barkley at 176. Gainwell also gained another 56 on him. So that's 225 plus
Oh,
yards on the ground that they gave up last week. And they head into Monday Night Football against the Steelers, where it's going to be nutso in that stadium. And what are the Steelers like? Well, the Steelers are a physical team, right? The Steelers fans should be licking their chop. The Steelers players licking their chops to get to this game, coming off dismantling the other New York team, the Steelers, coming in this game at 5-2. And it was Russell Wilson's first action last week. After that slow start, they really imposed their will, scoring 31 unanswered
oh,
points. And a theme from last week, the unanswered points theme, to dominate the Jets. Wilson had 2 TD passes and ran for another one, so he got himself comfortable there. Najee Harris ran for over 100 yards and scored 2. And Pittsburgh is, I believe, they're the best in the NFL with the turnover differential at +9. So everything points to the Steelers dominating this football game, but it is the NFL.
it is the NFL, but I don't see this going any other way. And dude, just seeing Pickens get involved, letting Russ cook a little bit. Obviously, doesn't have the running skill set that Fields does, but he brings a different element, and
Yep.
that's exactly what these Steelers needed. So it's going to be interesting to watch these cats grow with Russ back there down the stretch, man.
Yeah,
It's
and will there be
exciting.
Fields packages or whatever? Who
Yeah,
does? Who doesn't like Fields package?
and
Right.
everybody loves Fields package. Okay, all right, you guys. There are so many ways you can check out the football dudes, the Trend Zone. Dave, I'm feeling generous. Should we give this thing away for free?
It is absolutely free at this moment right now. Call now.
All right, get on Spotify, get on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, get on there and get your subscription to the Trend Zone.
Yeah, also subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Instagram and Facebook, follow us on X at Football Dudes LA, and make sure to tag us across all social media platforms. Thanks.
And if you're out there surfing the interwebs, go ahead and bookmark footballdudes.com. It is so easy. That is going to do it for this episode of the Trend Zone. We're not the suits that talk football. We're the dudes that know football. For Dave, I am Casey. Enjoy the games, people. We are out of here. Pew!